like a different experience, because you're just like, okay, well, I have all of this to do and this amount of time, and they expect me to know how to do it. It's like, oh, okay, we'll see how this goes.
As you know, public accounting is very demanding and challenging. Because busy season is coming up, you may wonder how to prepare for it. Today, our special guest will share with us what she learned from her very first busy season.
Hi, my name is Tasha Robinson. I am a second-year associate at Grant Thornton here in our Metro DC office. I went to undergrad at VCU in Richmond, Virginia, and I did my Master's of Accounting at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. My first busy season, the biggest challenges for me was the pace of it all. Just because I was on a big public client, and so we only had maybe like 6 or 7 weeks to put everything together, go through review, and I wasn't used to that much of a pace because I had interim work on that client, but when it came down to year-end work, everything seemed to just go much faster than it was before. Also, at times, time management got the best of me. Was very challenging sometimes, just because they would give you certain things to work on, like 5 modules, and they'll say, oh, I want this at a certain date, this at a certain day, these at the same date, and you would get caught up in trying to get all the client work, the client documents, and then finishing your own work papers, and it's just like you can kind of get lost in what needs to be due at what time. And then I would say another challenge for me was communication sometimes. It's hard for especially first year associates to speak up when they're not like understanding what's going on, but they feel like they should be understanding what's going on. So there was some times that I would just sit there kind of like twiddle my thumbs, trying to understand like what was going on, and why I should know this basically. And I would ping my other A1 that was on the client, and she's like, I don't know either. Maybe just wait a few minutes and maybe somebody will ask if you need some help. So communication is definitely something that was a big challenge sometimes. So a few mistakes I made that I'm definitely going to work on, or have been working on, and will make better during my next busy season. Number 1, time management. Making lists. What helped me now is making a tracker for my work papers, and just noting what's open in them, where I'm at in them, just so I can be better prepared for when my senior or manager asks like what's the status of certain work papers. Another mistake I made was communication. Communicating, hey, I need some help on this. I'm gonna need a little bit more time. Can I push back sending you things maybe like an hour or a day or so? Another mistake I made was sometimes when I didn't have work to do, I wasn't willing to, or I wasn't speaking up and saying, can I assist you with this? Or can I sit with you and learn about what you're doing? Because maybe sometimes I felt like, oh, it's busy season, like they can do their own work, and didn't give me a chance, try and like learn about what they're doing, because most of the time it's what I'm going to be doing in the next busy season if I'm still on this client. So just not speaking up and getting more work or learning new experiences. And then I think one of the last mistakes I would make was not engaging enough with the client. So of course, I would send emails to clients, requesting things, but I didn't do enough meeting them in person, like going to talk to them face to face, just to build that relationship. Because like I said before, most times you're going to be on that same client for the next busy season, or even later on in the year for interim work. So you just want to make sure like you're building that client relationship, so like they'll know you, even when other people rotate off of this client. The main tip I would say is, just breathe. just be calm. There's gonna be times where it gets hectic, but you have to know, like, for yourself, that the work is going to get done. You just have to, make sure like you're in a place where like you're okay, you're not getting overwhelmed. Just be calm. Make sure like you're asking your questions. Make sure you're communicating. And then like another tip I would have is to make sure whoever's on your team, you get to know them, because most times you're in that audit room, you're in that office 10-12 hours a day, and it kind of can get sad or very like quiet, like when everybody's sitting there like doing their own work. But like take time out, maybe like 30 minutes every day, talk with the team, get to know them personally, just not always talk about work. And then another team building thing that we always did, we would stop and play games, whether I think it was Sporkle, or like we played this random game like we saw on the internet, and just making sure like we are, we're having a good time, but like also getting our work done. Another tip I would have, I would say, is to make sure like you're organized, just because it is a lot of things that are going on, and you can kind of get things lost. So like you have like a small work paper that you think you can finish right away, but then a bigger work paper you think is more important would come along, and so you go to the large work paper, but then you neglect the small work paper. So just making sure you stay organized. And so like I did that with the trackers and stuff like that, making sure like you're just updating it every day, just make sure the status of your work. And then my biggest tip is just keep a positive attitude. Like I said, things can get rough, but if you have a positive attitude within yourself, and you pass it along to your teammates, then it makes the busy season go by a lot smoother than what you think, just because from what you hear from everybody else, it all basically kind of depends on what kind of team you have. But if you build that team, I guess I say repertoire, that word, that like team reputation of everybody bringing a good attitude, even though like there's going to be some off days for people, bringing that good attitude, and it can spread around the engagement room and then brighten everyone's day.